Okay, sorry about that. I messed up on the first video I was doing. Now, this will be a video on what I plan to be able to stockpile. And I'm not talking about the things like rice and noodles or malto-meal or oatmeal or grains, anything like that. This is specifically things like these bars of soap. Now, I'm very particular. I like to have out the exact amount of only what my family would be using. This specific bar of soap, based off of smell and texture and all of that, this would be the hand washing one. This one would last us a month. This is Irish Spring soap. Would, for me, be perfect for washing clothes, 2 weeks for this bar, etc. Now, this is my list of things to stockpile. I need bars of soap. I like doing a 10-year supply just to have it stocked up. I don't necessarily have to have that much, but this is my ultimate goal. But any given time, I want to have at least 5 years worth. So that'd be 240. Now, boxes of matches. I can get those pretty cheap for a few bucks, couple bucks a piece, or if you go to the Dollar Tree, you can get a box of them for $1. I'd like 100 boxes of those. Now, I do suggest that you be able to learn to do it without matches, whether it be flint and steel or however. But at the same time, you want to be able to have matches stocked up because it's just one of those things that will come in handy. But you also want to have the skill to be able to do it yourself as well. So keep that in mind. Now, buckets. Buckets are another good thing to be able to be stocked up on just because they can come in handy for so many things depending on whatever the situation is. Holding feed, carrying water, storing stuff. Numerous things depending on what the world is like in the future. So, buckets, oh gosh, since they can be used for so much and it's always good to have extra because you never know, I would say, honestly, personally, I'm an overachiever. I would like to have 100. Because, again, these can be, especially if you're on a crunch for space, they can be used to even grow potatoes, or, like I said, carry feed for animals, store stuff in, numerous things, okay? So as you can see, I have the bars of soap, the matches, the buckets. Blankets, people, blankets. And yes, it is fine to have, what's up, Bobby? I love you too. Go sit down, okay? It is good to have, regular comforters or the soft, fluffy ones if that's what you want, especially if it's during the summer and it's the heat-wise. You want to cover up with something, but you don't want it to be warm, so it feels nice and cool to have like a sheet or something. But depending on what happens in the future and there's no electricity or whatever, and you have to have have your own fire built to stay warm, you're going to get that in here and put on the table. You're going to want to have like the fleece blankets, the things that are going to keep you warm, along with sleeping bags even. Sleeping bags, fleece. Make your own sleeping bag out of a fleece blanket if you have to. So, I'm just going to put down blankets, but I know for me, I will, if I'm going to stockpile something, you can find super warm, even though they're itchy, you can find super warm fleece blankets because those will keep you the warmest, or at least for me. Okay, now for a stockpile on fleece blankets, you got to think, you want at least, especially if there's going to be depending on the situation, if you don't have heat or like electricity. Quiet! You wake up that baby, I'm going to be pissed. Sit down, be quiet. You're going to want at least 3 fleece blankets per person in the household. That's 4 people for my household. So 1, 2, 3, 4. sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, sorry, I'm horrible at counting. That'd be 12 blankets at the very least. But I always want extra, so I'm going to try and have a stockpile of 30 blankets. That's more than double of what the number for the household, because again, you never know what they could be needed for. So we have bars of soap, matches, buckets, blankets. Something else is, now, there are other things that would be good to have that not necessarily stockpile on, like the cast iron cookware. You know, if you want something long term, cast iron would definitely be the way to go. Something I've had issues with what to stockpile on is eating ware. You know, do I go ahead and get... I mean, there's no point in really getting plastic silverware if you have the metal ones that you need, but, you know, that's something that's been confusing for me. But medicine, okay? That is definitely something to stockpile. When this whole toilet paper thing was going on, I was like, why are people stockpiling toilet paper? If it was me, I'd be going for different medicines. Yes, they say that medicines have an expiration date, but a lot of things can go over the expiration date just depending on what it is. Like allergy pills or Benadryl. You want to get things like, you know, aloe vera. I mean, yes, I have recipes for things that are homemade, natural, to be able to make myself. I have those recipes and the ingredients for that to be able to make in the future when need be. But having that stockpile put back is also good. Just like amoxicillin. I have a container of pills that are the amoxicillin capsules. I think they're the 500 milligrams. But it's the powder on the inside. You know, and like, I did a lot of research on it, and nothing suggests to use it. They say don't use it past its whatever date. But at the same time, they said that's only because of a lack of study for effects of long-term usage after it's been expired or whatever. And also the fact that the amoxicillin, you know, the things that tend to go bad and can harm you are things that have like certain, I don't know the exact wording, so excuse me, but things like some kind of active ingredients, certain things that make it go bad and can really harm you. But amoxicillin doesn't, I can't remember specifically what it says, but amoxicillin doesn't contain those things. So they're not for sure. There's, like I said, there's no long-term study on the effects of usage after expiration dates and that kind of thing. So amoxicillin capsules, if you can get a hold of some and things like that, is definitely something to stockpile on. So I don't know why I put medicine. I should have put, well, I mean, I'm going to put things like, okay, we're going to put things like, I do not know how to spell, so excuse me. Hold on. All right, sorry, I had to press pause for a minute before I kept going. I will keep writing as I tell you about all this, but I wrote down things like amoxicillin. You know, you're going to want a pretty good stock up of that. I would say, and you also want to look up on medical-wise what the recommended dosage is per person, per body weight, age, all of that, so because you do not want to get that wrong. But I would say, if you're getting the capsules, I'd want 100 bottles. All right, Benadryl. I get the Benadryl chewables just because I feel like that lasts better and it works better for me. They come in 20 pills in that, and it's 1 to 2, or 2 for adults and kids above 6. So I would say, pretty much 100 of all of this. Cough and cold, I'm going to put 100. I'm probably going to rewrite this list on a different page too. Tylenol, again, I get the chewables. I'm going to say 100 bottles, whether, for now I also get kids' chewables, but for mine, I'm talking about the boxes of their chewables combined with the bottles for me, because they can take that when they get older as well. I put 100. Ibuprofen, 100. Vicks Vapor Rub, or anything for like the chest and stuff, I'm probably going to put, or, you know, petroleum jelly too. But for the Vicks Vapor Rub, that stuff can last a while, but I don't know, I would still say pretty much 100 Band-Aids, 100 antibiotic ointments, probably a couple hundred of those, because those are usually smaller tubes. Petroleum jelly, you know, you can get the things for $1, 100. So you pretty much get the idea. I'm writing down the things of bars of soap, matches, buckets, blankets, medicines, you know, and then of course I'll probably be doing the medical supplies, like making sure I have the gauze and wraps and stuff. Now, me, I'm also the person to stockpile, because plastic lasts forever, so I'll be stockpiling on things like this as well. Ziploc bags, jars, of course, you know, you got the oxygen absorbers, so, you know, jars and oxygen absorbers so that you can be able to can in the future. I'm trying to think. I know I had other things. Of course, if you have pets, you know, you're going to stockpile on, like, I have 2 cats, so would want to stockpile on litter and, you know, cat food. And then, of course, you know, in the end, they can end up eating what you eat as well, and you can use sand or something from outside for their litter if you still want them to be inside animals, things like that. Now for litter, I get these cheap bags that are like $1.50 or $1.75 or something. And I would probably end up doing 1 bag a week for them, so that's 4 bags for a month. Sorry, I'm horrible at math. 4 times 12. 2 times 4 is 8. Oh, okay, and 4 times 1 is 4. 48 bags for a year. So any given time I want to have 48 bags. So if I was to stock up on litter to at least get me a couple of years down the road till I get more established, I'd want 100 bags basically. Cat food, people can use a 10-pound bag per month for 1 cat, so we'll say 20 pounds for 2 cats for a month. 20, 40, 60. I'd have to add all that up, but basically, I think that would be 240 pounds. Anyway, you get my idea. This is just the rough version. I haven't gotten everything figured out yet of exactly what I want to stockpile, but when I do, I will let you know.